And welcome to Health, Wealth, and Happiness Mastery Season 4, Session 11. One more and we'll complete Season 4. Want to thank you so much for all the valuable input, the suggestions, a lot of my one-on-one coaching work, the stuff we're going to review in this particular training session has been pivotal in helping people with their lives, in their businesses, and just feel better, do better, be better, attract the right people, repel the wrong. And it wasn't until like the late 90s that I finally got like part of this right. And it wasn't until 2005 where my coaches at the time, and I want to shout out to Heather, Dale, and Paul, really set the tone for me to get clear on who those right people were and who the wrong people were. You know, and it's different for everybody. You know, for me, I was really clear about what that was over time. I've lived into that. And I live a life today, and I want to make sure you get this. Very low drama, if any. Very low gossip. Very low blame, excuse, denial. These qualities, traits, characteristics, they don't show up around me. I try not to like put them in the world. There's acute situations where I can get that way, but it's not a chronic behavior. So right out of the gate, think about the dominant people, situations, maybe mindset that you have that's floating around in your being. Is it your dream life? Is it your best self, as we'd like to say in our beautiful high performance coaching journey? Getting clear about who we are, getting clear about the energy we want to put out. For me, it's positive, loving, unconditional, compassionate, caring, enthusiastic energy for you. I hope I'm living into it. The old me wasn't that. And I want to be real clear as we get into the right and the wrong conversation, is that there is a way to live with less frustration, less, in my case, less anger by a long shot, less neutral negative energy overall, more positive energy, more growth energy, more abundant mindset, these kinds of things. So I want to go over some really critical frameworks in our training today that will really set the tone for how you can perceive life. A lens at which you can look through life and get clarity about what you're seeing, what's acceptable for you, what isn't acceptable for you. So right out of the gate here, let's just kind of get this stirred up a little bit. What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? If you don't have your notes out, get them out. Make sure you've got all distractions off. Take a moment in your journal or on your phone or on your computer, whatever that is for you. What do I stand for? And maybe on a separate page, what do I not stand for? This is a great exercise to get this conversation started. So as we step into this work, you know how we do this. You've been with us. And we have the 5 Ps at which set a real great perspective, right along the lines of today's topic, for how we want to interact with others, how we want to feel as we go through our days, our weeks, our months, our life. So when we look back on our life, we don't have any regrets. Or we may have regrets, but we pivoted those. And we're like, I regretted that during that time when it happened, but I made a shift. And it started with this training, kind of shooting for the moon here, but it started with the training, the thought, my commitment to personal development, self-improvement, to really go after a better life. Does that all make sense? So I hope this helps. So that being said, I don't really need the remote just yet. Put that over there. Let's go ahead and talk through the 5 Ps, and then we'll bring it into what we think about from attracting the right people. So as I think about attracting the right people in my life, and this includes for business, people that I want to coach, want to work with, want to help an internet marketing development set up with our internet services group company, generally I want to feel a sense of purpose, that they have a sense of purpose, and that me helping them is purposeful. I kind of look at purpose through 2 lenses, both of which are around servant leadership, about helping others in the world. The first is helping others improve their life somehow. That's what this training is all about. The second is helping other people grow their business, if they have one. Small business owners, entrepreneurs, that's my kind of people. Purpose is everything. As a servant leadership-based purpose person, sounds kind of weird to say that, but the concept is, I'm really clear that what I'm doing the majority of the time is helping others somehow. And if it's a business thing or an entrepreneurial thing, helping others grow their business somehow. Notice it's about others. So when I think about attracting the right people in my life, I think about, are they genuinely caring, compassionate, helping of others? Or are they more self-centered? Maybe that's a little strong, but are they more about themselves? I like to hang around people who want to help others. That's one of my preferences. To bring it up into this topic, I like to hang around people who feel purposeful through the lens of servant leadership. So as you think about what you stand for and what you don't stand for, maybe that's something to put in those realms. We'll keep building this case for you as we go through today's training. I think you're going to love it. I love to hang around people who are passionate, emotionally engaged, and enthused about something awesome. Something awesome can vary. Could be just the thing they just made, a guitar lick they just learned, painting they just painted, a way of helping others, enthusiastically caring, whatever that is. They're just passionate people. Next up, they're generally incredibly positive. They just have a good lens, an abundant, positive lens to look at life through. Not a scarce, oh, the world's coming to an end, this kind of thing. That's just not my kind of people. My kind of people are the positive people who are like, let's go, let's build dreams, let's go after our dreams, let's take decisive action. We'll talk about action down here in this beautiful watch scenario. Thanks to Jim Quick for that. That was awesome. But the idea is they're action takers. Talk about it and then walk about it. Like they walk the walk, talk the talk and walk the walk. They're going after it. Positive, ambitious people. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Generally, they're very productive. And through the lens of what we talk about in high performance, productivity, they're real clear about what they want to accomplish in life, and they're reevaluating that as they move through life. But they're also on the hunt to work on 3 or less projects at a time while handling their responsibilities. They're on their responsibilities. Like literally, if you look into their calendar, they're like time blocking their priorities and ambitions, and they're on their responsibilities too. They're really going after it. Does that all make sense? And then the final P, if this is important to them, and I think for most people it is, even at an individual level, they're living a profitable life. That means they're saving more than they're spending on average. And inside that profit layer, they're having fun and freedom. It's out of that old mentality. My grandparents had it, and I think before that had it. We got to work for an enduring amount of time, then we can have fun. Meaning we got to work for decades, then we can go and retire and have fun. They're having fun on the week, on the weekly, on the daily. They got that like scheduled in. A couple people I know have this saying, done by one. They work through 5 50-minute time blocks, and we'll talk more about that as one of our action items. 5 50-minute time blocks. In each 50-minute time block, they're incredibly focused on one thing. So if they're moving forward with a book, they're writing or researching for their book in a 50-minute time block. They take a 10-minute break to reset themselves, get water, go to the bathroom, set intention, these kind of things. Then they step right into another one, another time block. And in that time block, they might be just handling responsibilities. Got to take the garbage out, do the dishes, clean up the house, da-da-da-da. They take that break. 10 minutes to reset themselves. Third time block, they go into another project, full focus. And that project might be email. It might be catching up. The catch-up time block. Got to check in with the world, make sure everything's going there. They usually do that later in the day, though. So the idea is to get your stuff done first. And in the concept of done by 1 o'clock, I've got everything that I want to get done today nailed. The rest of the day is mine. Create in the mornings, manage in the afternoons. Or in the context of done by 1, create and manage in the mornings through 1 o'clock, a little later in the morning. Have the rest of the day to myself. What does that sound like for you? What kind of people support that? There's a few people that I coach that their husband or their wife is like, if you're not working, blah, 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 blah. And they have a huge issue with the fact that people are relaxing and enjoying life. Like, you need to be working every moment you're awake. And it's this mentality, and they've got one instance that I can think of is mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, really intense. Somebody I was coaching. And it's like, dude, I can't just sit down and chill because I get hammered about the fact that I'm not working. But I got all my stuff done. I'm incredibly efficient. Gone through high performance. I've got this 5 by 50 dialed in. As a matter of fact, for that person, it's like 7 by 50 a day. Imagine 7 50-minute time blocks where you're just crushing it and somebody there next to you is with you, and then you're having fun with them after that's done. You get up at 6 and go, and like, what is 7 hours? We'll give yourself some time in there for lunch. About 3 o'clock, you're done for the day, and the rest of the day is to go out and have fun. Fun and freedom, baby. Let's go. Does that all make sense? Is that something that's accessible for you now? If you have a day job, 8 to 5, outside of the 8 to 5, do you have enough fun and freedom? Are you allowed to have fun and freedom? I get kind of in a conundrum when I hear people say, I got to ask permission from my wife. Like, what is that person, your mom? Or I got to ask permission from my husband. What is that, your dad? That's not how relationships work. At least at the husband and wife level, or they shouldn't be that way. At an advanced, more mature level, you're like, hey, I'm going to go do these things, and I respect that you want to do your things, but I'm going to go through and do these things. And there's just a rhythm to it. Okay, cool. Well, you're doing that, I'm going to go do this. And there's a respect and a trust and a love with it. Is that helpful? So I might be hitting some buttons for you. That's what I know happens through this context, through these examples and illustrations. But at least now we've got 5 things we can plant, like put a stake in the ground to say we stand for. I stand for purpose. I stand for passion. I stand for positive, good energy. I stand to live productively, meaning, think about productive through this lens. If I get all my requirements, my responsibilities done by 1, productivity for the rest of the day is spending quality time with my family, doing things we enjoy. And that's the most productive. Didn't believe that when I was younger because I was raised under the mentality, back in those days, of work, work, work is all you're doing to be productive, and work fast and do a lot of work. And today it's like work smart, not do a lot. Do like the minimum amount you can and delegate the rest. That's what we teach in our performance. And then really, if this is critical for you, tie it to profit. At a personal level, that just means you're taking in more income than you're spending. You've dialed in your expenses. You've got money for fun and freedom. And you're paying off any debt and saving for the future as well. Is that helpful? These things really play a role in the construct of attracting the right people in your life, especially if they're going to be close to you, significant others, as opposed to repelling the wrong people. And right and wrong, this is the gray line. We'll put it that way. Because what's right to me may not be right to you. What's wrong to me may not be wrong to you. And that's totally fine. There's no judgment here. None of that kind of stuff's going on. We're just trying to get this fleshed out for you. Get some sensory, some description, some vibrant, emotive feelings, emotions, these kind of things dialed in for you as we think this through. Thank you so much for being here. I love this topic. I was talking to my daughter, Jo, about what we're going to cover in just a minute, RAS. And she goes, Dad, I so want to take a psychology class this summer because it's so exciting to me about what you're sharing. And I want to understand more about the human mind and the feelings associated with the human mind, these kind of things, what true psychology is about. And I'm like, I can't wait for you to take it. I want to take it with you because we can have some fun and learn some new things. But right out of the gate, as we think about what we're focused on in life and the way our minds are engineered, we'll step right into the RAS conversation. So before we do that, we covered the perspective part, purpose, passion, positivity, productivity, profitability. And I'd love for you to take a moment and think about, maybe get your journal out. What do I stand for? What do I not stand for? So just a few more illustrations for you so you get the kind of lay of the land as we do this work. What I stand for are people who are purposeful, and I'm ultra in it with them. Caring, compassionate, empathetic. What are you going after? What can I do to possibly help? What I stand for are people that are passionate. I'm emotionally engaged and enthused about this thing. If you connect purpose and passion together and it's about helping the world somehow, I'm in. You'll see me just like connect. I'm ready. Positive energy on top of that. Watch out, world, we're going after it. Bring in the joy. Bring in the joy. Next up, productivity. We're going after this and we got time blocks associated for it. We're taking care of it. Finally, if it connects, the endeavor, the goal, the thing that we're doing is about a mission. In high performance, that typically means the mission is something we get compensated for. If not, it's contribution. Things we do in the world to help the world be better that aren't necessarily tied to income, and that's totally awesome too, whatever that is. So this ends the perspective part of our training. Let's go ahead and dive right into the training aspect of it. So first and foremost, if you are familiar with RAS, the Reticular Activating, see if we can spell this, system. And again, if I'm writing on the board, you should be writing in your notes. So the reticular activating system is actually a primitive part of the brain that helps our brain absorb and focus on the things that are important to us. That's my interpretation of it. basically what it is if you look around, there's like millions of pieces of information floating around, and our brain is helping us like categorize what's important to us from this. What should we be focused on? The example I love to use that seems to resonate with everybody is the moment you buy a new car, and let's just say you bought a white Tesla. The moment you buy a new white Tesla and you get on the road and drive, all of a sudden your brain's seeing, if they're out there, white cars, but white Teslas. That ever happened to you? Like, oh my gosh, I never noticed how many white Teslas were on the road. So the white Tesla. So our RAS is activated when that's happening. It's like, hey, white Tesla, I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you. This is the part that gives me chills. When we think about the fact that we grew up and we were imprinted from our parents' friends, our aunts, our uncles, whoever was around us, it informed us subconsciously of who and what to focus on. So let me say that again. When we were growing up, we were imprinted subconsciously with who and what to focus on. Now, let me break it down for you. The qualities, the traits, the characteristics, even the values were imprinted on us. Common thing I get in a lot of coaching calls is this. Hey, Char, why do I keep attracting losers? They'll describe a loser as, and I'm not bringing judgment to this, it's just what they tell me. They'll describe a loser as somebody who seemed okay, and then they were narcissistic, and then their personality unraveled, and then they were controlling, manipulative, demanding, generally negative-minded. And I'll pause. Now, the work I do is future-oriented, but I do step into the past. I'll go, what did you grow up around? Or what have you been around predominantly? And most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they'll be like, yeah, I had a dad or a mom or a grandma or a grandpa or somebody I was around predominantly who was those qualities, traits, and characteristics. And what we're sensing at a psychological level is our body is like, that's comfortable. I need that in my life. And we don't even realize it's happening. And typically that's part of what the RAS does. It helps us focus on what we want. And it helps us like see it. Does that all make sense? This is so critical as the first step. That's why it's in red. You figure out and do your own study, and that's the first thing on your action list today, is to go and study the reticular activating system. If you're interested in that, I'm so interested in that. I love it. Josie is too. Little Joe with the tongue out, doing her thing. She seems to be interested in it too. That really helps us at a fundamental level understand what we're looking to attract, what our bodies are like comfortable attracting, and on the other side, what we might be repelling. Even though we want it at a surface level, our bodies are actually repelling it at a subconscious level. I know this is deep. Sorry to get so deep on you right away. No, I'm not. I'm trying to push you to really think this through. So I'm not sorry about it. I just want to make sure you understand some of the elements at play here. So RAS is critical to learn and understand, especially if you've been around enduring periods in your life of people who are neutral or negative predominantly, who lived what we'll classify a little bit as below the line. They lived from a place of negative, neutral energy. They were a lot about drama, like negative drama. They were a lot about blame, excuse, denial. You commonly hear them say things like, it's not my fault, I didn't do it. That kind of languaging. If you had that a lot, and you're like, I don't want to be around people who are like that, but you had it a lot without like thinking this through and visualizing a better tomorrow, you might be attracting that almost automatically, just because your body's used to being around it. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure the RAS is critical. Think of the white Tesla. So with that in mind, let's go through a couple models here that will really help kind of build the case for you for refocusing on the right people with the right traits, qualities, characteristics, values, these kinds of things, and repelling the wrong. So let's kind of build the case for you. First of all, the above the line, below the line. Heather and Paul and Dale taught me this way back in 2005 and 6. And basically what it comes down to, and the way they had it was or over bed. Or is in blue. And blue, just so you know, when I use blue, it's about a better tomorrow. I try to use blue for better tomorrows, like happiness, training, these kind of things. Red is like, watch out, we got to get this clear. So above the line, when you describe the right people in my world, at a fundamental level, they're of ownership, accountability, they take responsibility, there's a plus symbol here, positive energy, they're about ambition and growth. So I'm going to say that again if you're taking notes. Ownership, accountability, responsibility, positive energy, ambition, and growth. Predominantly, they have that in their languaging and so forth. Does that all make sense? So let's talk about the opposite, because this may help flesh out what ownership, accountability, responsibility is. They're not typically, and they may get there acutely, and that's what I was talking about at the beginning, but they're not saying things, being people from blame, excuse, denial, negative or neutral energy, gossip, or drama. So these people down here below the line live from a place predominantly, and this may be helping kind of flesh out the RIS conversation for you, what I talked about a little bit ago, that they are from a place of blame, excuse, denial, negative energy, neutral energy, gossip, and drama. Let's say it one more time if you're taking notes, because this, I got to tell you, of all the sessions that I've had, people are like, that above the line thing changed my game. It helped me be better around the people that I want to work with at work, helped me be better around the people I want to attract, helped me date better, helped me be a better mom, a better dad, a better husband, a better wife, better cousin, better business owner. And I hope you're sensing why. This is incredibly powerful. Above the line is ownership, accountability, responsibility, positive energy, ambition, and growth. Below the line, blame, excuse, denial, negative, neutral energy, gossip, and drama. So take a moment with that. Let's just pause for a minute. Think about, through the lens of your life, if you look through the timeline of your life, how have people shown up that have been in your life predominantly? Are they more down here or are they more up here? And I'm going to kick your behind on this one. Where are you predominantly at? Here or here? When I was overweight, 270, 280 pounds, and I was not a happy person, I was down here a lot. Blame, excuse, denial, negative, neutral energy, gossip, drama. Wasn't up here a lot. Ownership, accountability, responsibility, positive energy, ambitious growth. In order to be here and stay here, I realized, and I have the 10-day health, wealth, and happiness challenge that documents my journey. About over a decade ago, I did this. To stay up here, I got to be dialed in on sleep. I got to be dialed in on hydration. I got to be dialed in on eating nutrient rich. I got to be dialed in on exercise. Just before our training right now, I went through and I ran 2 miles, and I ran it fast, knowing I needed to really dial in my ability to articulate and be just lean, clean energy for you. To live from here. Does that all make sense? Especially positive energy, ambition, and growth. That's the magic. Whew. Take a moment. Take a deep breath. What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? What is it for you? Is this helpful? There have been people like me who said, I no longer stand for this. And unfortunately, the relationship I had when I got divorced got to this place and stayed here, at least on the other side of the equation, a lot. Not my fault. It's your fault. Excuse, denial. It's not me. Negative, neutral energy. Gossip, drama. I was like, give me a break. Do not want to hear any more drama. That's not what I want. I want to go after growth. I was stifling me from what I'm doing right now with you. I had these ambitions and ideas, and they just got stomped out because every time I was going after that, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? You shouldn't be doing that. Came out of this realm. I'm like, I'm going to do what I want. Luckily, I had enough courage and enough sort of wherewithal to overcome that and change the trajectory of my life so I can be here with you right now. Does that all make sense? Is this helpful? Please, please, please take the time, do the work. What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? You've got to document this. What we found and what psychology shows and study shows, when you write it out, sometimes it's helpful, is what I've determined from the people I work with, to write out what you don't stand for first, do it 1 item per line, and then do a contrasting exercise. I don't stand for blame. I stand for accountability. I don't stand for excuses. I stand for ownership. I don't stand for denial. I stand for responsibility. Don't stand for negative energy overall. I stand for positive energy. I don't stand for, gossip. I stand for ambition. Let's talk about what's possible. Let's not gossip about what's going on with others. I don't stand for drama. I stand for growth. You can take the same breaths and just go down the loop of like, what do they do? What are they up to? Blah, blah, blah. I don't like that. Blah, blah, blah. Or you can go right into the realm of, hey, you know what? This is what I'm working on. This is what I need help with. This is where I'm going with it. Do you want to be part of it? Same heartbeats, same breaths. And if you haven't heard my story about that, you have a finite number of breaths you're going to breathe before your body can't breathe anymore. You have a finite number of heartbeats in your being. My job on this planet is to help you use every breath, every heartbeat to the benefit of the world somehow. Let me say that again. My job on this planet is to help you use every breath, every heartbeat to the benefit of the world somehow. Just don't want to see you sitting around in negative neutral energy for any enduring period of time. The highest performers do not have bad days. They have bad moments. They pivot fast and they pivot hard. Negative neutral energy comes over me. I'm just like, I see you. How bad is this on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst? Ooh, this is an 8. It's time for me to cancel appointments today. It's time for me to get in my car, go down the beach, and just chill out. Walk. I walk off negative energy. Walk it off. Doesn't happen but maybe once a year at the most now. Thankfully, I'm so happy to share that with you. But even if it's a lower magnitude, meaning it's a 3 or a 4, then I'm in the park, right by my home office, going out there, just connecting with nature, letting it go, not getting pulled in the trenches of it. What's your practice? A challenge for you is to figure out your practice and live into it. So often in the older days for me, I'd be in a bad mood and I'd be just let it simmer and just boil. And by the end of the day, I was in a terrible mood. And I'm just like, oh, this is so great, being in this bad mood. Blah, blah, blah. And then I was throwing out all kinds of red. Today, I don't want to go there. Limited heartbeats, limited breaths. I get this. Life's short. Oh, let's go. Let's go rock this. Is that helpful? I love this stuff. Hope you do too. So above the line or below the line? Easiest way to think about what we've covered so far today is I stand for being focused on good things. The 5 P's, above the line behaviors, traits, qualities, characteristics, and values. I don't stand for below the line, and I don't stand for what isn't the 5 P's. If you did the opposite of those, I don't stand for that. If that's all you've got, that's incredibly helpful for your RAS, for your reticular activating system. Focus on these things, to go after these things, to feel better. Does that all make sense? Really dial this in for you. Next up is the info identity loop. And this comes from the world of psychology, and it was taught to me by Brendan Burchard, our master coach in high performance coaching, where I first started learning about high performance. And the easiest way to think about this is to draw an infinity symbol, and in it, put the word info, and then in the other loop, put the word identity. Now, what this represents is your psyche. Everything you see informs and becomes your identity. And hear and these kind of things, like your senses. The info around you informs and becomes your identity. Conversely, your identity informs and becomes the information that comes out of you. The facial expressions, the gestures, all these kind of things that inform the world about your identity. Does that all make sense? The words that come out of you. Now take this through the lens of this. If the info coming into you is about ownership, accountability, responsibility, positive energy, ambition, and growth, and you let it in, and you don't hold reservation with it, and you're like, yeah, okay, well, I like the fact this good information is coming in, I'm on it. It's a different way of sensing life, isn't it? So here's the thing. The moment I learned this, I realized I sat in the wrong places in the airport when I was waiting for flights, because I'm looking at, and I couldn't hear it, but I was looking at headlines of news. And like that info is affecting my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts. I've got to not look at that. And so I purposefully, even today, when I go into an airport, I'm looking for a place where I don't see any screens, which can be difficult. And I'm like really in command and control of the info that's coming into my life. It goes right into Facebook, Instagram, TV, movies, documentaries. I'm really reluctant today to watch any movies that inform my identity in a neutral or negative enduring way. So the movies I like to watch are more positive. At least they have positive overtones or something about a life lesson of growth for fun, or action, of course. But on the other side of it, documentaries, I got to be really clear about that. Got to be real clear about who I'm following, who I'm not following on Facebook. I don't get on Facebook a lot anymore, but the idea is that I'm real clear about, hey, if they're coming from this place and it's happening predominantly, like they may be in that place acutely because of a certain issue that came up, but if it's predominantly a blame, excuse, denial posting, I mute them or unfriend them, or I guess it's unfollow them. Don't want to hear it. Don't need to see it. Sorry. Bye. My goal whenever I put anything on social media is to be from this place. Ambition, growth, about helping people. about serving the world in a good way, sharing great examples, great stories, these kind of things. Is this helpful? So what we have to be clear about is, and I challenge you on this, take a deep breath and just think through the last 24 hours. What info has informed your identity? What have you, from an identity perspective, put into the world as info? And has it, through the lens of above the line, below the line, been about ambition and growth, or been about blame, excuse, denial, gossip, drama, negative energy? And maybe it's not as black and white as that, but what's the net effect of the info that you're putting into the world? And whether that's with you talking to a son or a daughter on the phone, predominantly with your husband or wife, with your best friend, where are you sitting here? And is there a better level of communication and way of being? Sometimes, and I've had a couple people admit this, they've said, Char, when I look at gossip and drama, I like that stuff. I'm reading things that fuel that for me. It's just crazy to see how the world works. And truth be told, I look at that every once in a while too. I've got a certain person in my life, my lovely lady, who likes every so often look at Daily Mail, which is a lot of this and some of this. But it's kind of fun is to see that side of it. It's neat. I just don't live there. That's an acute situation. Does that make sense? Not a chronic situation. I'm not living here predominantly. I'm way up here, through the lens of the 5 Ps. But in order to stay there, and I want to make sure you nail this point for you, I have to dial in my sleep, hydration, eating nutrient-rich most of the time, exercise, doing the right things to inform my identity of positive things, recognize and have that observer mindset when things are neutral or negative. Where is that coming from? Why is this happening? Coming right back to the reticular activating system, the white Teslas. What am I focused on? Am I focused on neutral or negative energy, or am I focused on positive energy? And where am I getting that inspiration, that source? Is that helpful? Oh, I hope this is helping you, because this is critical when you think about attracting the right people in your life and repelling the wrong people. So far we've got the RAS dialed in. I hope that makes sense. I'll be sure in the replay to include notes for more science behind what that is and the way that helps us as humans survive, basically. Above the line, below the line, mindset, and the info identity loop. These 3 critical ingredients really help you think about who are the people that I want to be around predominantly, the right people, and when these certain qualities, traits, or characteristics show up, don't want to be around them. Repel on the wrong people. You'll see me as another illustration for you. I'll go into a networking group. Well, as of the recording of this, we're coming out of the pandemic, so pre-pandemic, go into a networking group. And if the group or the people that I'm with are primarily in the red, I'm in and out. Got better people to be around, I'm going to go grow that. So one concept that I did, this was just a test study, I just did it impromptu, as I went in there and I saw this particular networking group was loaded with blame, excuse, denial people. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go online and I'm going to try to create friends through LinkedIn who are, by adding value in LinkedIn groups, and I'm just going to talk about whatever the topic is and just deliver value, help. Here's how I think about it, and I'm going to be explicit, verbose. And I posted 3 things. And through that, I made 15 friends over the next 3 days who were similarly minded. Char, I love what you said, and would love to get to connect with you and talk with you about these things, You sense how we can command and control our destiny through this? Is that helpful too? These illustrations, I hope these illustrations are landing for you. So we've covered above the line, below the line, the info identity loop. Next up, we think about the green. And this is where things get fun. I mean, so far, hopefully things are fun, but you know what I'm saying. Feelings, outputs, outcomes. As we define being around the right people, one of the traits and qualities in high performance is understanding and thinking about what are the feelings that I want to have when I'm with these people? What are the feelings I want to have as I anticipate being with these people? You may know what I'm talking about. Oh, I got to be around that person. It's going to suck the energy right out of me. So we don't want that. We want to be around a person that's like, oh, I can't wait to go and play with this person or to go and do this thing with this person. It's going to be fun. They're always fun. I'm on it. That feeling. What are the outputs? What are we going to put out into the relationship? And I hope I've given you some context. Hey, what are you working on? You're 3 power questions away from an extraordinary relationship. So when I think of the outputs here through WHOO, and by the way, we taught WHOO a few sessions back, feelings, outputs, outcomes, as a perspective keeper, if you will, towards how we want to experience life. Like we set intention about how we want to feel. We set intention about the outputs we want to live into. We set intention about the outcomes we want to have versus just impulsively flying through life. Intention over impulse. Does that all make sense? So what we're really trying to think about here is when we think about the feelings, outputs, and outcomes through the lens of a relationship, it's like, how do I want to feel predominantly? If I feel this, is this acute? Meaning that I feel put down, I feel like a bad energy around this person? Is this just a one-time thing? And am I going to call it out as the output from me? Going, hey, you know what? I'm just sensing here that you're judging me. Or you got negative energy. Are you okay? Because the outcome is clear. The outcome is we want to live a life of ambition, growth, positive energy. And it requires you command that. In her book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, Bronnie Ware, I think she was a hospice nurse for over 30 years, just basically didn't really interview them, but had discussions with people as they had terminal illnesses on the way out of life. One of the regrets was I didn't realize happiness was a choice. I just lived into what other people told me or thought of me or da-da-da-da. Didn't realize happiness was a choice. Not only is happiness a choice, you command it. Somebody comes to me and they're neutral negative energy, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa, do you sense the energy here? What's going on for you? And maybe we need to pause this conversation and we'll come back when you're in a better energetic place, because that ain't how I'm going down. I'm not going to that level. No way. So you call me back or talk to me later when you're in a better energetic place. Oh, I'm sorry, Char. I'm just really frustrated right now. Okay, cool. Well, let's take a deep breath. Maybe do a little release meditation for a minute. Release, release, release. And then we'll come back. But the intention here is that we have good energy. The outcome is I want to help you be better and do better in the world, but I cannot do this from a place where I'm feeling bad or you're feeling bad. You may be frustrated and challenged. That's part of life. But let's just come at this from a positive, as much as we can, place of ambitious growth-based energy. Different conversation. So many people, they get just sucked right in the trenches of that negative neutral energy. It's another psychological thing about the mirror neurons in our brain. When you go into a phone call and somebody on the other end is like, hey, what's up? A lot of times you may go, oh yeah, well, and you were way up here in energy and you're just down there with them. I command that. I get really aware of that. And I'm like, whoa, are you doing all right? Because I sense your energy's down. What's going on? Is now a good time to talk? If it isn't, that's fine. I'll call you back. Oh, no, I'm good. Okay. And then they come up, maybe just a little bit. Feel that? That vibe? The difference? So we have to be really clear about, when we think about the right people in life, what do we want to feel predominantly? What are the outputs? I like to think of the outputs as questions we're going to ask as we think about the right people conversation. Instead of saying, hey, tell me about your mom and how she was mean to you, we say, hey, what are you working on? Or what do you want to do today that's fun and adventurous? You sense how we went from there to here in terms of a question, an output? Towards the outcome, I want to feel at the end of every day that if I rank these 5 items, I lived into 10s, 10 being the highest. I commanded purposeful conversation coming from here. I went after emotional engagement and enthusiasm, rocked that out. I was positive. Didn't get sucked into the trenches. I'm going after it. So the feelings, outputs, and outcomes are really critical. I love this phrase that relates. You get what you accept. The first time I heard this was from a very incredible mentor of mine, Terry Brady. And he's the reason I'm actually here in Southwest Florida on an enduring basis, I would believe, with great business and stuff like that. He was the owner of the company I worked for in high school. And I just remember hearing him walk down the halls. You get what you accept. You get what you accept. And this is what this is about. Feelings, outputs, outcomes. Above the line, below the line. Info identity. You get what you accept. Now, I don't accept neutral or negative energy anymore. As of 5-6 years ago, I got the practice down to go after the power. What we call that in high performance is the energy in the room illustration. And the energy in the room is simply where you're having the conversation with somebody and you're like, pause. Do you sense the energy here right now? You're not blaming them for negative energy. You're sensing the energy here. third-party inference, not directly on them. Does that make sense, the difference? Really critical. So you get what you accept. So as you think about what you stand for and what you don't stand for, think about the feelings that you really want to feel from others. Think about the feelings, as you think about your identity, the feelings that you want to put onto others. Is that helpful? This is really critical conversation as we build the case for you as to what you're putting in the world and what you're receiving back. So often people say, I feel good, I see good. I feel bad, I see bad. That's the good old RAS at work. So we want to put good out, feel good overall. Helpful? So powerful. Next, really critical that you get out your journal. If you already have it out, what you stand for, what you don't stand for, maybe go to a new page. What are the values, traits, qualities, characteristics? I think we covered them all. Of the people that I want to be around, and sometimes it's easier, just so you know, sometimes we'll do it, traits, qualities, characteristics, values over here that I do not want to be around. And then we'll have a matching page over here, the traits, qualities, characteristics, and values I do want to be around. So let me get this started for you so you have something to kind of work with. I want to be around people who are, you're going to love this, of ownership. They're accountable for their actions. They're responsible. They have positive energy, generally. They're ambitious. They're growth-minded. They're open-minded. They are cool with whatever. Yeah, okay, cool. So they're flexible, would be another trait. Characteristically, they're very, yeah, I don't know that. Let me learn that. So it's Carol Dweck talks about in the growth versus fixed mindset. I think her book is Growth Mindset. She says the people who are of a growth mindset are generally like, yeah, don't know that. Let me learn that. Fixed mindset people, which would be on this side for me, the people that I just don't want to be around are the ones that are like, I already know all that. Brr. Don't need to learn that. No, I'm fine. Like with it, the energy with it. Does that make sense? And maybe it's not a chronic thing. It's a acute thing. But if it's a chronic thing, it's not for me. I will challenge them, as we teach in high performance, influence, challenge their character, their connections, and their contributions, but not going to be around that. Life's too short. Remember the heartbeats and the breaths. Life short, baby. So your job is to think through the values, traits, qualities, and characteristics here. And really get explicit. Like journal or describe it sensorially. What does that mean? It's like, what does it feel like? What does it look like? What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I not seeing? Now, when I say hear and see, I'm thinking about the phrases people are saying around you predominantly, and what you're seeing is facial expression, gestures, posture, some of the stuff we teach in physiology mastery. I'm not seeing people like this. I'm seeing people like this. I'm not seeing people like come at me with an angry face. I won't use some of the words that people describe their faces as. But you get what I mean. I don't want to anger. I just don't want to see an angry face. I want to see a happy face. I want to hear words like, you know what, I believe in you. You got this. Not, why are you doing that? You have no qualification for that. What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? Don't want to hear that. Sometimes that can be uplifting, but we realize they may be our propellant to go and do. We don't be around them too often. If at all, go after the people that can really help us. And if you need somebody in your life that really helps you. If you're in our master community, you already know I'm here for you. If you're not, apply for our mastery community. We'll get you on that track fast. As fast as we can for you. With love, support, openness for you. Some of the other values, unconditionally loving, happy. They're really able to adjust with what life shows up with. So it comes back to that flexibility piece. Now, we go over the stuff that are traits, qualities, characteristics I don't want to be around. I just don't want to hear words like, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Nothing happened. These are all blame, excuse, denial kind of situations. The negative energy, you can detect that just without even somebody talking. You just sense that sometimes. Not my people. Gossip, drama, nope, not for me. Not on it. No way. See ya. Got better things to do. Let's go and talk about this. You don't want to talk about this? Okay. Well, I'm going to head out. See ya. Bye. Is this helpful? Would love for you to take some time, and maybe this is a brainstorming exercise for you, your family, or you and me. If you're in our mastery community, we can do that in our Zoom roundtable. Later on today, we'll be meeting and we'll dive into the Zoom roundtable and really own this for you. Make it real. Go after it. You'll have such a list, and then when you take that list and look at it on a daily basis, for example, like I do, you inform your RAS to focus on the white Tesla, not something else. Figuratively, the white Tesla is your dream of who you want to attract and who be around in your life, the right people, while you repel the wrong. You know, it's literally that in an interaction at a networking event or even online. It's like, why am I putting myself through the feelings of reading all this stuff and getting this negative or neutral enforcement? Next up is watch. This kind of gets it real tactical for us. And when we think of watch, we have, I'm going to try to remember this, action, thoughts, character, habits. I'm going to have to look up that W. Let me see where I know where it is. Tell you what, this is so new. I just was like looking at it yesterday and I was like, this is so gold. All right, here we go. Watch. Duh. Words. We talked about that earlier. So this is from Jim Quick. He just posted this on Instagram. And he goes, watch, words, action, thoughts, character, habits. What are they saying? What are they doing? What's the predominant thought pattern in their head? I hope we've fleshed that out a little bit. What's their character stand? Like, what do they stand for in their character? What do they not stand for? What are their habits? What are their behavioral rhythms that support or don't support these kinds of things? Isn't watch amazing? Like when we take all of this information and we say, okay, you're a person, you're a human, stuff comes out of here, you do stuff with your hands, you have facial expressions, your certain energy exuded, you say you're going to do certain things, do you take action on those things? Are they, through the lens of what we talked about today, of benefit to others? Are they helping the world be better somehow, predominantly? What thoughts are going through your head? So many people I've coached are like, my husband's thoughts, or my wife's, are, what's in it for me? Why should I care? I don't care. If it isn't for me, being around your family, well, I don't want to go. But we really love you. We want to have this event and this celebration. What's in it for me? But they're going to have your favorite pie. Okay, then I'll go. Not because they want to be around the people, but they want the pie. I've had that just last week. It's like this person is probably looking to get separated here soon. The biggest thing, and I learned this lesson way too late in life, and I hope this helps as an illustration for you, is so often when people go through divorces, it's about a core value difference. The core values have shifted and gone like totally different directions. And they're just like trying to make it work, but it's like square peg, round hole. They just can't do it. So really think about watch. And I would challenge you to pay extra attention to the actions. So often people that I've worked with have said, Char, they said they're going to change. Words. But when they back it up, none of the other things change. They said they're going to change. Then we ask, well, what's actually changing the behaviors, the way they've spent time with you or the way that they put the things that they promised in play? Let's do that, a weekly review, and see what's actually pivoted through the lens of change. Is this helpful? Just these frameworks can be so incredible from the perspective of just ways to look at attracting the right people in your life and repelling the wrong people. So with everything I've covered, going right back to what we talked about at the very beginning, what do we stand for? What do we not stand for? Who is or are the right people through the lens of their behaviors, their predominant personalities, the 5 Ps, the info they put out in the world, that informs or becomes your identity, and conversely. The feelings, outputs, outcomes. So many people have said, I finally found the person that I can celebrate life with, because we're diligently at work over here, and then we're like, it's time for a break. I think I'm done working for the day. How about you? Give me 10 minutes and I'm ready. And they just take a quick shower, go out and adventure for the rest of the day. And inside one day, they live a full life, a fully purposeful life. And let me kind of break down what I'm talking about here. They've done their work. They've put their effort in to help in context whatever they do individually. They've gone through and were nice during that time. They operated primarily from the 5 Ps and from above the line kind of characteristics. They recognize it's time to go play. I'm on it. So when we talked about core values, characteristics, traits, and qualities, they're like, well, let's go have some fun together. And they're just that. And you can sense that when you see that couple going out there, walking the beach down here in Florida, or going out and just playing mini golf or whatever. They're just like in it, fully immersed, fully engaged, joyful, confident. The very pinnacle part of what a high performance lifestyle can feel like. Fully engaged, joyful, confident, coming from our best self consistently. That's the essence of what high performance is from the definition. So this is really critical. So the last item that I want to make sure of, and we've touched on this many times through our work today, is that you get so clear about describing vibrantly who the right people are in your life. And that's what you concentrate on. So often, though, to get there, the access point is through the wrong kind of behaviors, the wrong kind of actions, the wrong kind of traits, qualities, characteristics. So that's the jumping point into the right. So the easiest exercise that I've helped people with, talked about this a little while ago, is where you document one quality characteristic of negative or neutral here, like they're narcissistic, they're sociopathic, they're manipulative, they're emotionally abusive. And then you just put on that's one line item, and on the other side of that, you put the opposite, whatever the opposites are. You can go on thesaurus.com and hit synonyms, and then just start to describe it. It's so weird to say this, and I didn't believe this until I did it. But when I wrote down the traits, qualities, characteristics of the people that I wanted to be around, the psychology kicked in, and I saw them. And I met and continue to meet really wonderful people. When I applied that, we're going to talk about this in our Business Internet Mastery training, about how when you go after the right customers and repel the wrong customers, we're going to forward this into that dialogue, per service, per product, per solution, the dynamic of your business changes. And I didn't realize this until I put this in play in 2012 and 13 when I learned it, that our whole, the culture of our company through the lens of our customers' behaviors changed. We got rid of a few really, and I'll give these illustrations in that training, neutral, negative clients, and replaced them with ultra positive, purposeful people. And as a matter of fact, these people realized they weren't a good fit for us, and they said, hey, you know what? I see you guys are changing direction, and we don't really want to be a part of that, so we're going to find somebody else. And we're like, see ya. Because I didn't say this, but the sensation here was like, you're definitely not a good fit for the new way. We called it the new ISG way. And it was really clear about what we wanted to attract and what we didn't. And I had our customers actually read it. And I said, hey, if you feel like you're not a good fit for us moving forward, just let us know. And we'll either recommend somebody or, you can move on to somebody else. Talk about being courageous. That's a part to this. So that being said, that ends the training of our time together today. In the last few minutes here, I want to make sure we crush your action list. First and foremost, as I talked about earlier, study the reticular activating system. You're going to get so much out of that. Because it's like, oh, so life's about focus. What I'm focused on, what I'm not focused on. Second, journal. What do I stand for? What do I not stand for? By now, if you've done the work during this training, you should have quite a list. Third, draw or bed and share. So draw the above the line, below the line out, maybe on its own piece of paper, share it, and maybe even post it. Quite a few people that I've taught that to, especially business owners, have had that in their office or have it in their office, and they they've trained their team to come in instead of saying, I can't believe it didn't work out and it was all their fault, blah, blah, blah. Above the line. Oh, yeah. So here's what kind of went down. And here's a couple options we have to sort of fix it. Fourth, brainstorm 4 through 7 and open journal. And what is open journaling? Open journaling is where you have a practice every day to just crack open. It could be a note, Apple Note if you're running on the Apple ecosystem. It could be a notepad in Windows. It could be a piece of paper. It could be a Word document. It could be a Pages document, whatever it is. But you visit it every day and add to it and like subtract from it. And the idea is that you have at the very top of this document the right people. And you may have another subsequent document, the wrong people. Like I said, that can be an easier catalyst to get to the right people. Sometimes it's hard to think about what the right people are without thinking about this is what I don't want. This is definitely what I want to repel. This is what I want to go after. So we have this document and we're constantly evolving because as we think about it and we focus on it, RAS is on it, we're like, oh yeah, we're driving on the road. We're like, I would want that in my life. Something we see inspires us. So we can add that to it or hit a voice memo on your phone and go add blah, blah, blah to the right people document to really go after this. Number 5, time block weekly to find these amazing people. Remember the 5 by 50. So if there's 50-minute time blocks in your week, and you have one 50-minute time block dedicated to going out online, and I got a couple links from one of my weekly wisdoms recently about 15 places and apps to find amazing people, like different ways to create friendships and so on. It's not about dating necessarily, it's about just creating great friendships. I'll make sure to link that in the replay for you so that we're really clear on how to get that started. But sometimes it's just going out and finding groups with people with similar interests to you, and then striking up conversation with the people that seem to be, more around this realm than this realm. They may add value consistently in a group. Hey, you know what? I love the way you're adding value in this group and would love to get to know you more. Can we get on a Zoom? Can we talk? Or if it's a regional or a local thing, can we go out for coffee? Those kind of things. So time block to find these amazing people. So many people I've coached are like, Char, you don't understand. Where I live, there are none of these people. But what they didn't realize is they never looked for them because they hadn't qualified who they are. Once they started to do this work, they're like, all these people that are in my community, some of them I already knew are these people, but the lens of life that I was looking through didn't see it that way. Thinking about one of my most amazing coaching stories, the man, I'm not going to say his name, but he knows who he is, rocking it out. And number 6, if this is lighting something up in you, ask for help. If you're in our master community, let's get on a check-in call. Let's sort this out for you. If you're not, reach out. Maybe we can do a discovery call. Or talk to somebody you know who seems to have this dialed in. Go out, get in a Facebook group, get in a group, find online where you can get more support, more help. So that all being said, as we think through what we've covered today, I hope we've nailed it for you to really think through how to attract the right people in your life and repel the wrong people, and how we can leverage psychology and qualities, traits, characteristics, and behaviors and actions, habits, thoughts to really go after that. If you have any questions or need any support, you know I'm here for you. I love being here with you. I want to send you positive, loving, healthy energy, thoughts, and vibes. And you've got this. Go after it. Let me know what you create. Share it with me. Direct message me, email me. We'll pop on a Zoom, whatever it is. If you're in our master community, we'll talk about it in the round table. Would love to see it. And it may inspire others too. Thank you so much. Let's go out and crush it. Have a good one. Bye. We rocked it. Yeah.